Hello, this is Noreen from Joy Cards and welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! For more of my Stampin' Up! Card videos, please like and subscribe, hit that little bell, and you'll be notified when my videos release. So now let's go make a card. Hello everybody, today's tutorial is on Waterfall Canyon. I'm going to show you 3 cards and we're going to make the last one. But this one was a bit of a challenge for me because I wanted to take it to other places and it just didn't want to go there. Anyway, so with every set, I start out with stamping what everything looks like. So here with this particular stamp, these are reversible, so you can use the front and the back. So the front has all the detail on it and it stamps pretty well. In fact, for what it does, you don't need it to be real super solid. You got the waterfall, the 2 sides, which these are 2 different stamps, the bridge, 2 clouds, 3 kinds of trees, some shrubbery, and some rock. And the back side looks like this. Now they don't stamp out real solid on these pieces here, the big pieces, but that's okay because you don't need them to anyway. So that's how they stamp out. Now I did try to do some different things with the waterfall. This is just Pacific Point and Balmy Blue, and I stamped off once to get that effect, and here's with full color. Now I also took some basic white in like a little dish and I painted in some water effects, but it almost started looking like a volcano, so I kind of stopped that. I also used some other colors here. This is Pacific Point and Bermuda Bay. Didn't like that one so much. This one is Tahitian Tide with Starry Sky. And so I kind of just went with the Pacific Point and the Balmy Blue full strength without the water that I added with the Whisper White refill. So let me show you my first card. So I wanted to make an alternative first because if you look in the catalog, and it's in the new catalog, it's on page 94, they have this scene right here, which I did go ahead and duplicate. And I'm going to show you how to stamp this out anyway, but this is what they did. And they made one alternative over here where they used the rocks and the trees and the clouds, but that's all they used. And I was trying to think of ways to kind of do this card alternatively, and this is one of them. I did come up with another one I'll show you in a minute that just didn't turn out well. But what I did is I masked off the top part of the waterfall and just had the bottom part as a lake. I did use, and this stamp set, if you're going to do anything alternative to it, you're going to have to use some other stamp sets. So Mountain Air, of course, is on the same page as the catalog, but Mountain Air is in here, and that is the sun and the birds. And of course, neither one of these stamp sets have a saying in it. So I used the hello from Go To Greetings. It's also in the new catalog. Now, everything that I'm showing you here in the video, all the dimensions, all the supplies, they're all in the description of my video. If you're on a cell phone, there should be like a little down arrow next to the title of my video, and then you have to click show more a couple of times and it brings everything down. So you don't have to frantically write down everything that I've done because it's all there for you. If you're on a computer, just like I said, next to the title of the video before you start watching it, there should be an arrow of some kind and then show more, show more. So the hello is right here, and this is a great little set because it's like they have big, medium, and small sentiments with happy birthday, thinking of you, just a no, hello. I mean, it's like, this is pretty awesome. So that's how I use this one. Now, I also used rectangle stitched frames. And one of the things I look for in a new catalog is in the back when they have all the dies and punches and everything, look for things that you can use for a lot of other projects. So like Scalp Contours was from last year. That's a great one. Tailor-made tags. Here's the stitched rectangles. This one's interesting, split card textures. But there are some in here that are new that I went ahead and got, like pretty pop-ups I'm getting here. I just ordered it. But I look for basic fabulous frames. If you've been watching my previous videos, I've been using this one to death. and I was very good, and I did not use it this video, so I was a good girl. Designer tags, and this one, Beautiful Shapes, is really good. So look for some basic tags, and I use stitched rectangle frames like all the time. So I went ahead with the Garden Green and Black, and I did, you know, I did one in the other, one in the other, and then the inside, I took the 5.5 by 4.25 that I made this first triangle with in the Garden Green, and I used it on the inside, and then just made some other rectangles inside. And like I said, all that description is in the video, so you can look over that. So this is card number 1. Here's card number 2. Now, I made an alternative to their particular style, and like I said, we're going to make the last one. I'll teach you how to layer these up, but I made it just a little different. I put the bridge in the middle, and what you have to do the bridge in the middle is you're going to have to stamp out the card just like this with the sides and with the waterfall, and then you're going to have to stamp over that scene and basically just grab your memento. Now this stamp set is a clear stamp set, so you have to use a stamping pad. I mean, they stamp out pretty okay, but they stamp out way better with the stamping pad. So once you stamp these all out, now not your card, this is like so you've got your original here, and then you're going to have to mock this up, because what you're going to do is you're going to stamp out your bridge right there in the middle. And the reason why we're doing that is because I want everything that goes on from the inside, and then you're going to have to grab your scissors and fussy cut this out. And then once you fussy cut that out, you need to take your soft suede blending pen, the light soft suede blending pen, and fill in the little gaps, because even though you've got the water inside there and part of the mountain, you're going to have some gaps of white. So use the light soft suede just to fill those in. You're going to fussy cut that out, and you're going to put it right on top of the middle here, like there was a trail going across, instead of on top like they have it here in the catalog. So and then I took my rectangle stitched frames and I cut that out, and I used for the sentiment, I used Wildlife Wonder, to a great guy right here. Now all these sets here, they're all like outdoorsy kind of stamp sets, so they're good to buy together so you can kind of mix and match. So I used the sentiment there. The die comes from He's All That, so that bundled. So this little die here was just absolutely perfect for this sentiment. So I mean, you got to look at your dies with other sets and see which ones that come with sentiments. So there's 4 sentiment dies here, so this is a really useful thing. And then you got your little hashtaggy things going on. But yeah, this is a great set. This is a great die set to have. And by the way, everything that you see in my video from my glass, because this is actually a light board too, and it has a cutting pad, the magnets, anything, my folders where I keep all my DS paper, they're also in the description of the video. I am an Amazon affiliate. That means I've been all checked out, and it's safe to click on my link. So if you wanted to order anything or look at them and see the pricing, it's great. You just click those links and go on there. It also helps my small business, because not only do I get a credit if you buy something directly like that, within 24 hours of clicking my links, I get a credit on whatever you buy on Amazon. It really, really helps me out, and I would appreciate it. It's you know, it's very, very helpful, so I can continue to do my videos. But anyway, so that's how I did the bridge. That's the tags that I used, and we're going to go through everything else in card number 3. Here's card number 3, and I've altered it from the original. So this is the original from the catalog, and what I've done is I put the mountain scene behind it, and the sun, and the birds. I also omitted the bridge altogether, but if we wanted to do it, I did make it. And just like that other card where you have to take a pre-stamped out waterfall and mountain, I did the same thing, and I did it over like the mountain here. So I made a mock of this over the mountain, and then I fussy cut it out. So I've got that mountain in the background. So I mean, if I wanted to, I could put the bridge up here, just up on dimensionals, and we could do that at the end if you want to. But how they also differ is I put the sentiment down here. Now the sentiment I used is Stylish Shapes, and it's this little one right here, and it makes out such a cute little die, and it was perfect for go-to greetings. And I just did the just a note, which is this one, nope, this one right here, the little tiny one. So I did that different. And then of course, I'm going to show you how I masked this off to do that mountain, because right now in the new catalog, there is Stampin' Up! Masking paper. And let me find it for you in the catalog here. Okay, so here's a masking paper. It's on page 127 in the new 2022-2023 catalog. And this stuff is great. So we're going to be using some of this. So let's start with the base. It's just going to be a 5.5 by 4 1/4 in basic black. The inside, I went ahead and did Early Espresso, basic white, and I stamped it with the large tree in garden green. And like I said, all the dimensions are in the description of my video. You can also go to joyofcards.com, my website, and if it's the most recent video, it'll be the first to pop up, or you can look for the Waterfall Canyon in all my videos, because all my videos that I've ever made are on my website. So let's get to the front of the card, and what you're gonna need is this DS paper is from He's the Man, and this is great. I did a video on it just a few weeks ago. In fact, I'm going to order some more because it has a lot of masculine paper to it, and since these two stamps right here and the Wildlife Wonder are all kind of masculine, it's probably a good idea to keep this paper on hand. So this is cut 4 by 5 1/4. Now this card was cut 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I think I do like the bigger border on the paper. And it was also done in He's the Man. That's what this Early Espresso looking paper is. So we're going to go ahead and just snail that up and put it right there in the middle of the card. And then you need a piece of basic white. Now we are going to cut this down with the rectangle stitched frames. That's what it's cut in. So go ahead and grab a piece that's 5.5 by 4 1/4 and just give yourself lots of room, but we're going to focus right here on the middle. So the first thing we're going to stamp is the waterfall. Now remember, these stamps are reversible, so there's a shadow and the outline. The first thing you're going to stamp is the shadow. So look for the flat part of the stamp, and we're going to stamp this in Balmy Blue. Now you can either do it this way because it is a big stamp, or you can do it this way. This one really doesn't matter so much. So we're going to ink that up in Balmy Blue. We're going to put it in the middle toward the bottom of the paper here, and just do it like that. Now after you stamp that one, you're going to take this and you're going to turn it over, and yeah, you're going to be wearing a little ink. I was like covered in it yesterday because I was really trying to do, and I'll show you what else I was trying to do. I was trying to really get to this, but I was going in another direction, and I took it like this, and I was going to put the waterfall, like, actually this wasn't there at first. It was just going to come out of nowhere, and then I thought that looked weird, and then I added this, and then it became a mess. So I gave up on it. So let's go ahead, and we've got this turned over. We're going to stamp this in Pacific Point, and we're not going to stamp off. I liked it full strength. Now you could stamp it off if you like. And then when you stamp this on, make sure that your outline hits the top or a little above where the shadow is. Now they don't line up 100%, but that's okay. I'm going to have to stick my head in the camera a little bit, and then just get it in a spot that you like, just like so. And here we go. So the next part we're going to be putting on the mountain. Now if you are going to do a bridge going over the middle, make 2 of these, because you're going to have to stamp this over the one you're not using and then fussy cut it out. But make 2 if you're going to do a bridge going across. So now we're going to do the mountain. Now for the sides of this mountain here, or the cliffs. So you're going to use the shade and the detail, which is one and the same. They have the detail on one and the shade on the other. So do the shade first. Now, when you initially stamp them out, you can tell if you just lay them over which side goes to which side. That'll kind of help you. That was kind of hard to track. So go ahead and we're going to do soft suede. I know this will be on my right. I'm going to stamp that and I'm going to get it as close as I can to the waterfall without going over it, just like so. And then we're going to take the other side of the shade and ink that up in soft suede. And I'm going to have to stick my head in the camera. Sorry. And like so. Now I'm going to take these stamps. I'm going to take my chamois here. This is also in the catalog. Also, all the things that I use in the video, there's not only a description, but I have Stampin' Up products for sale, and I have non-Stampin' Up. So like my glass here is a non-Stampin' Up. The magnets, the paper holders, everything are non-Stampin' Up. But the Stampin' Up things are there too, and this will be in there along with the case. And this is great for a quick, you know, you got to clean a stamp real quick because we're going to turn these over. But if you click on the little link for the Stampin' Up site, it goes right to my Stampin' Up website. So I get credit for the sale. So I've cleaned those off, and now I'm going to take them and I'm going to turn them over like that. So this one went on this side and this one went on this side. But when you turn them over, now they go to the opposites. And we're going to use early espresso for the top. And if you want to, before you even put it in the ink, just kind of line it up and see how it goes. And I really do encourage you to practice stamping these out so you know what goes where. So I'm going to take that detail side and I'm going to stamp on top of my stamping pad. And I got to stick my head in the camera, sorry. And I'm going to stamp this side like that. And I'm going to take the other side and ink it up real good. And go to the other side. Sorry for my head, my big red head. There you go, just like that. Now this stamp set will naturally have these little white gaps in it. If you look in the catalog, you can see that too. If you don't like it so white, go ahead and take a blender pen and just kind of go over the darker spot and bring it into that white spot, and it'll take some of that, you know, really bright whiteness out of there. Just don't dip into that blue. So you can grab a little of the ink off the dark and go into the light. And I'll put these blender pens on the list as well so you can get some of these. They're kind of great. Now we're going to do these trees, and you've got three kinds of trees. This one, and this one down here. And we're only going to use the detailed. We're not going to use the blackout. So I'm going to grab the tallest one first. I've got Garden Green and Pear Pizzazz. And I'm going to take that garden green and I'm going to try to fill up the most obvious little holes. Like right here, I want to put a nice big dark green tree. Now, once I stamp it, I'm going to go to the other side and I'm going to stamp it off over here and get that other, you know, kind of a shade of green. And I'm going to do it again and I'm going to bring it over here, that hole, and I'm going to bring this one over here, over there. Now I don't want to kind of go over the little cliff here too much, but you know, it'll look fine. And then let's grab some more trees. I've got this medium-sized one here and it's got a little plant connected. I'm going to go into the garden green and I'm going to do down here and down here. And mind you, we're going to take our rectangle stitch frame and cut this out. And then let's take a little one, garden green. Let's put one here. In fact, if you want to grab a little piece of scratch paper, because that's always useful. And I'm going to put one right here, just in case that gets in there. And then I'm going to go through again. And if you want to grab your little chamois here and wipe off all that one color, see how quick it is? Dunk, dunk, dunk. All right, good. So we're not dipping into the Pear Pizzazz with that big green color. Here's Pear Pizzazz. And I'm going to put one here and stamp off here. I'm going to take the little one, I think, and put it right here. Now I'm trying to just fill in some holes. So I'm going to put one here. Let's grab this one. I'm even going to put some down here. I'm just giving it some extra color. You can stamp off to the side. Okay. Just trying to get rid of a lot of white. Okay. Now on this one, unlike the other one, I put the rocks on the bottom, and you can do that or not do that. This one, actually, this one I'm going to grab more of this mountain so it's a little higher, so I just cut those off. So I don't really necessarily need the rocks, but you can put the rocks at the bottom. We can go ahead and do that. And the color I would use for the rocks would be soft suede. So just do the rocks on the detail side. Remember, it has a blackout and a detail for all these stamps, and you can put them like right there if you want. Okay, and then just kind of fill it in a little bit more. If you want to take a piece of scratch paper and kind of like dip something in, let's see, let's take this one in garden green, and like I don't want it to hit into the water, so I'll just take a piece of scratch and go over like that. Actually, get that a little closer. Okay, and just kind of fill that in. Now, it's not going to fill in all those gaps, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a blender pen or a blending brush and Pear Pizzazz, stamp off, and then kind of fill it in. And if you want to take a piece of paper and cover over, you know, the water so you don't hit the water or the side of the clip here, and just kind of fill that in so there aren't any of the white spots. You can even do it on the bottom here with soft suede against those rocks and just kind of fill it in just so it doesn't look so blank, because you can't really get those to go over all the way. And I would even go ahead and take a tree and garden green and put one a little higher here, because I know that you can see the sides, because if you look at the card you can see the side a little bit. So as long as it's covered there, I think we are good with the trees and the rocks. Now we're going to do the mountain. Now that's from Mountain Air, and it's going to be this stamp right here. So I've got that all mounted up, and we need the die that goes with it, so the big blank die. And the reason why we need the die is that we're going to make a mask. And I told you about the brand new Stampin' Up! Masking paper, and this stuff is pretty awesome. This is the first time I've used it, and what I did is I took it and I just cut this out. And once you cut it out, you take off the back of it, and you can use it as a mask. So let's stamp first. So I'm going to put these back on my magnets. My magnets are listed in the description of my video. So they have an Amazon link. Like I said, I'm an Amazon affiliate. I'm fully safe and checked out, so I'm all good to go on that. So the first thing we'll do is stamp the mountain, and we're going to go ahead and use Memento. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp. I'm saying go ahead way too much. Anyway, stamp out the mountain here. I'm using the Stampin' Pad. I'm not touching my Memento that much because I always like over ink, and it gets all over my hands, and it's like it's awful. So I'm just gonna like let it fall, let it fall. Okay, and then we're going to take this and we are going to stamp this. Now before I do that, I didn't make a mask of this part, but I did have that paper that I had here a minute ago, and I did mask over this. And what I did is I just took a piece that I've already kind of stamped, and I fussy cut this part. I'm going to fussy cut around the mountain or the cliff here. And this one doesn't have a die. If it had a die, I would use my masking paper, but it doesn't. So I'm going to fussy cut this out real quick. So I'm going to take my mask that I just made, and I'm going to use the teal Tombow. This is great for masking. And I'm going to match it up as much as I can. Okay, now I can stamp my mountain because there's nothing that I'm going to stamp over here. So just ink that up again on my very messy memento pad and come over. I'm going to have to stick my head in the camera, and I'm going to put those mountains right over the top. Okay, I just had to cut to this really quick because I just made a major mistake on the card. When you are fussing cutting out any kind of mask to go, because I'd taken the basis of the waterfall, so the waterfall on the cliff, and I cut this out. But what I did is this was stamped on Stampin' Up paper. Stampin' Up paper is meant to fold. It's good quality paper, so it has a thickness to it. When you're making a mask, you have to use copy paper, because if you don't use copy paper, this is what's happened. And I have this major gap on my card, and it's like, no. So I didn't want to just cut it out and not show you. This is a major thing you have to do if you're doing a mask. Copy paper. So I just stamped out the shadow of the side of the hill and the waterfall, and this is what I need to fussy cut. Now I'm going to give it my best to try to stamp over that mountain. So we'll see how good I am. So I'm going to cut this out and I'll be right back. So I just cut my mask out of copy paper using the teal Tombow, which is great for masking because I don't have a die. And I'm going to take this, and yes, I'm going to put it right back over that spot, and let's see how good I am. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this up real good. I doubt that I'll be able to do it because, I mean, to match this up would be impossible. And I'm so going to put my head in the camera. So you're going to get a good look at my scalp here. Let's see. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. It's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. Let's pray, please, to the stamp gods. May you work, but I understand if you don't because I was dumb. But it's important to show mistakes, right? 3, 2, 1. Let's see. It's good enough, right? Okay, I think we can fix this. So I think it's pretty darn close enough. And what I'm going to do is a little magic here. Let's see. We'll see if this makes it to the final video. But it's important to show mistakes. Now, all I have to do is really connect the dots here. Oh, and there is one thing that will save me a little bit, and that is there is some greenery that goes on top of that cliff, and it's right here. And we'll use our garden green, and the two little shrubby things are right here, and we want to use the detail, not the shadow. And the larger one or longer one goes on the right. So I'm going to put my stamp pad on my pierce mat and in garden green, and I got to stick my head in, and I'm going to go right on the top of that cliff. And it's important that you do the green part after you stamp your mountain anyway, because it'll look muddy. I did it before, and I stamped the mountain over it, and it doesn't look as good. So, and then grab the shorter little bushy one and put it on the left. I'm going to put it right here, just like that. Now, mind you, this is going to be cut out, so that's okay. And then I'm going to just fix my little fudgies. Look, I've already got ink all over my fingers. And we're going to take the blending pen, and we're going to take a black Stampin' Right. Black Stampin' Rights are cheap. They're $4. And the part number and the link is in the description on my video. Click on it and you can get it. These are great. I use this one all the time. And it's got a really, thing about Stampin' Rights is that it's got a real thin end of it and a thick end. So use that thin end to connect any dots. Like up here, I might want to connect that to the cliff a little bit, just a little, or where it's stamped over, I was just a little over, I can just fill that in with the pen. Look, I'm fixing stuff. We all do this, so it's, you know, it's a good skill to learn. See, it's a teaching moment of my stupidity, and I'm just, look at that, burp, burp, I got it. Looks fine to me. And now we're going to get rid of, like how we got rid of the white here with the blending pen. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab a piece of scratch paper and make sure there's nothing on the pen. And then I'm going to go off that black a little bit and kind of fill it in. You can even take the memento and dab a little bit, just dab off because it's going to be really dark, and get most of it out. And then especially like the areas that are supposed to be shaded, you can fill those in a little bit. Try not to touch that green. That green is really close here. And we're just going to, my alarm just went off. That's awesome. Right in the middle of a video. Anyway, just fill that in, get rid of the white. And just, you can dip in, just mark off, or you can just try to pull it from the mountain. Now it's not, because the mountain isn't white, even when it's got snow on it. And I'm in Colorado, by the way. And by the way, it is May, what, 19th to 20th, and it is snowing. We're supposed to get 4 to 6 inches today. So that's Colorado. And guess what? It was 89 yesterday. Colorado. We have some of the most beautiful but very interesting weather in the world. But anyway, so that looks pretty darn good for making a mistake. Might I do add there? Okay, so that's that part. Now let's make the sky. Now remember I was telling you about the masking paper. I just told you a little early. I'm going to take the die. I'm going to cut out one of these like I did earlier. And I've made this mask. So whenever you've got a die, or you can use the masking paper for anything. It's just that sometimes it's just a little cheaper to just use paper and the teal tape. But I did use it here and it works awesome. Just like that. Look at that. And now we're going to go ahead and do some blending. So I need to grab some scratch paper and get your blending pens out, and let's do the sky. So I've got some colors out here. I've got Balmy Blue with a blending brush, not a pen, and Melon Mambo with its own little brush, and I've got Daffodil Delight. And we are going to take the moon from Mountain Air, but we want the non-detailed one, the blackout one. So I've got the smooth side on there, and I'm going to take my Daffodil Delight. I've got my masking paper on there, and I'm just going to put that sun just like so. And then I'm going to take a blending brush and I'm going to go over it like this. See, just like that. Doesn't that look good? So blending brush here. You can even take, if you're really brave, some Melon Mambo. Now my pad's a little inked here, so I'm going to try to get off most of it. And I'm just going to give it a little tiny hue of that pink. So it looks like the sun is setting a little bit. Okay. And now Balmy Blue. Stamp that off. I just inked that stamp, believe it or not. And I'm just going to go over it. Okay, and give a little up here. Now, every time you blend, it's going to look different. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. So the sky I did here will look different from this sky. If I do 100 of them, they'll all look different. So it just depends on how much you put on and where it's at, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to work this a little bit. Okay, I think a little on the top. Am I getting anything there? Yeah. Right on that edge, just like so. and might as well put on my cloud. So there are 2 clouds in the set, and we want to use the flat side. So the clouds are right here. There's one there, and there's a little one right here. So I'm using the flat, not the detailed part, because I used a flat here, and I used detailed on this one, and I kind of like the filled in one rather than the cartoony looking one. So got the flat, I got balmy blue. I'm going to stamp off once, and I'm going to put a cloud here, and I'm going to do one there, do that again. I'm going to put the dark one over here and the lighter one over here. Might put one up there. So you can put on as many clouds as you want, and then grab the memento. And on Mountain Air are these little tiny birds. I use these birds a lot. So you always have a reason to use tiny little birds. Put my birdies on, and I'll just put them like right there. Boop, just like so. Now for the unmasking. Dun, 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 dun. That looks great. Not bad for a whoopsie there, but you know, that's real life. See, that's real life. You gotta, you know, give me that. So I'm gonna also take a blending pen and just fill in the little tiny bit of white that it might leave from a mask, which is normal, and everything is good. Now we're ready to cut it. So we're gonna cut this, and we're gonna take the second largest stitched rectangle frame. And when I lined it up, I noticed there was a lot of white on the side, so I've got my soft suede blending brush. I'm just gonna fill in that mountain a little bit on the side so it's just not so white. And then we're gonna line this up. Now, the reason why I didn't have any rocks here is because I needed a lot of that sky, because this took up a lot of space. So I'm literally gonna do the same thing. So I'm gonna line it up right to the edge here. I'm gonna put a piece of my masking tape. Now my masking tape, I don't know if I can get an Amazon link. If I can, I'll put it on there. This stuff is great. It is the Delicate Frog Tape. I have had this roll for 2 years. I still haven't opened my brand new one. I bought a new one thinking I was going to run out, but it's like I haven't run out yet. And I can use this over like a million times. And I mean, the less sticky, the better. So I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and tape this on here so it doesn't move. And I'll be right back. So I've cut this out, and I wanted to show you before I take this apart. I'm sure most people know this, when you're cutting something like this, a square, don't feed it through your die cutter like this. Put it at an angle, because if you go like this, it'll go clonk, clonk, and then clonk, and that's just not good. So put it at an angle and go nice and smooth. So let's go ahead. See, that frog tape is awesome. And here we go. Look at that. Now let's make our little sentiment tag, and it's from Stylish Shapes. It's that little one that I told you about that I already pre-cut. I'm gonna go ahead and put that back in. And this is from Go To Greetings, Just a Note. And I don't need a Stampin' Pad for this. And I pre-cut it. I like to pre-cut first before I cut. And there's our little sentiment tag. So let's put this card together. I'm gonna take my piece and I'm gonna put this on the front and the middle. I'm gonna grab my black mini dimensionals and put these on the little teeny tiny tag here, and put this on the part of the waterfall, and that's it. That's the card. So if you like it, if you're a first-time subscriber, like, subscribe, put in the comments that you would like to win the demo card, because I get rid of all my cards. I would have 5 zillion cards if I didn't get rid of them. And put your email so I can talk to you, and I'll mail you out a card. And let's look at the other ones here. So I've got 4 cards here to give away, and these are all real fun. So that'll do it for me. Thanks. Bye.